Hi guys, it's Courtney from Crochet. If you watched my last video about selling my plushies at Anime Boston, I mentioned that I had recorded some videos during kind of the process of prepping for Anime Boston, but I didn't have time to edit them before the actual convention came because it was just such a mad dash to make plushies and bags and hats and all this stuff for Anime Boston. So I figured I might as well finally edit the video and release it and upload it. So what you're watching right now is present day Courtney, giving an introduction to a video that I recorded as I was preparing for Anime Boston. So if you want to see what I crocheted in 1 week and a few extra days for Anime Boston, then keep watching. Hi guys, I'm Courtney from Crochet. If you don't know me, I'm officially a pattern designer and you can find my patterns on my Etsy. I also sell physical plushies in person and online. So if you watched my yarn haul video, you'll know that I actually was accepted to sell at Anime Boston. I'm super excited and so grateful for this opportunity. For the past 2 years, I went to Anime Boston as a cosplayer and it was so much fun. They have really amazing panels and they have lots of great discussions and so many awesome, fun, nerdy activities that I just absolutely loved. So it's mind-blowing that I get to now go and sell my plushies. Oh my gosh, after having spent so much money the previous 2 years buying merchandise from other people. So I'm just really excited, but what that means is that I have less than 8 weeks to crochet a bunch of plushies to bring and sell at Anime Boston this year. It's real hectic around here. I basically spend hours and hours a day crocheting now, which has been really fulfilling. It keeps me from napping so much during the day because I'm a huge napper, real sleepy girl energy over here. I'm always tired, but no, recently I've just been drinking coffee on a really good sleep schedule and crocheting as much as I can. I try to make at least 10 small plushies per day, and typically my small plushies take less than an hour to make from start to finish. But I've just been batch making a bunch of plushies in the same pattern because I find that when you're switching between patterns frequently, it takes a while to get used to the pattern again. You have to kind of keep looking at the pattern, but if you make the same pattern back to back a bunch of times, eventually you know the pattern by heart and it's kind of like muscle memory really kicks in and it's just easier to get them done faster. Also, I find the same to be true when I'm switching between different colors of yarn. It gets kind of messy, so I try to make a batch of the same color of the same pattern and then move on to the next color of the same pattern, etc. So far I've made a Target bag full of plushies. It's almost filled up to the brim, and recently, as you can see, I've mostly been using the free Kirby keychain kind of pattern by Sweet Breed Creations. I love this pattern. This is one of my best-selling patterns at my markets, so I just know for sure that it's gonna sell super well at Anime Boston. So yes. For a while, I was selling my Kirby keychains at my open markets, and I really had only made 1 batch of Kirby keychains, and then I just sold them at my open markets until they sold out. And they were really great selling keychains. The problem was I had only made a handful of each color, and the pink ones were the best selling color, and then I think the blue ones were the next best selling, and then the green ones, and then I also had a couple of yellow ones that took a really long time to sell because people don't want a yellow plushie, and I didn't realize that because I love yellow Kirby's and I think they're really cute, but people didn't really, they more so wanted the pink ones. The pink one was usually the first choice. But after I made that batch of Kirby keychains, I was kind of over making Kirby's. I love the pattern, it's really cute and simple, but what made my Kirby's a bit more effortful is that I completely felted the facial features. So I had to cut out a bunch of tiny little ovals out of felt, some semi-ovals, and some other shapes for the mouth. And it just took a really long time just to felt one set of eyes and a mouth for each Kirby keychain, and it was a lot of effort, and using the fabric glue that I was using was just getting really frustrating because it would like ooze out of the bottle, but after, you know, a few seconds it's like already too kind of dry to really use up, so I was like wasting a bunch of glue, and it was just like a huge process. My fingers would hurt from cutting out the felt so much with those little scissors. And so yes, I have been putting off restocking these Kirby keychains because the felting process is just really frustrating and tiring and effortful. But because I'm selling at Anime Boston, I was like, you know what, I have to absolutely bring these Kirby keychains, and I'm gonna bring a quantity that I have never even thought of making before. So to start off, I made a bunch of pink ones, and I hadn't made any of the facial features yet, but I decided to make all of the facial features over the span of one day, and my goal was to make as many eyes and mouths as possible in that one day. So I ended up cutting out 118 eyes, individual eyes, to make 59 pairs of eyes for 59 Kirby's. And I tried to get all of that done in one day. It didn't happen. I ended up like taking a nap, and then during the nighttime I was like, oh, I just don't have the energy for this. So then in the second day I finished up all of the eyes, all of the mouths, and I glued everything together. And I'm actually very happy with the results. I'm so glad that I just got that out of the way, because otherwise I would have procrastinated on it and it would have been like a last minute thing. And doing the things that you don't want to do is already hard enough, but doing the things that you really don't feel like doing but on a time crunch is like way worse. So I'm so happy that I got all of the felting out of the way. I probably will do another batch of felting because I don't think that 59 Kirby's is enough. And I know that that's an odd, weird number to kind of land on, but the only reason that I landed on 59 is because I had used up an entire sheet of black felt on making the black part of the eyes, and I could only fit 118 eye shapes on that piece of felt. So I will probably end up making like maybe 40 more eyes so that I can bring an extra 20 Kirby's, because I am expecting this to be a huge convention and for there to be a lot of customers wanting these Kirby keychains. So yes, after I spent those 2 days on the felting process, then I kind of got back to crocheting the actual Kirby bodies themselves. So I've made a bunch more pink ones, I've made 10 blue ones, and so far 7 green ones, which I'm satisfied with for now, but I do want to, you know, keep the progress going. I don't want it to be like a last minute thing, so I am going to keep working on Kirby's as much as possible. So I just wanted to add that there's really no surprise here. The Kirby's sold really well. I did end up only making 59, and I didn't make any extra eyes or mouths. I didn't have time to do a whole nother round of felting. So because I ran out of time, I did just bring the 59. I sold almost every Kirby that I brought, but I do have some left over that I'll just bring to my next market, wherever I sell at next. And as always, the pink Kirby's were definitely the best selling Kirby, but people still liked the blue and green Kirby's as well. The other things that I've made so far this week is these Totoro keychains using a free mini Totoro pattern, which I absolutely love. They just turn out super cute. They're really easy to make. Takes me less than an hour to finish them. There is a little bit of sewing involved, but you know, there is, you know, a few kind of color changes that you have to do and embroidering. So those are the things that kind of get a little bit taxing after a while. Like, it's much easier for me to just do something that's all in one color, all single crochet, maybe a couple of bobble stitches here and there. But it is a little bit more of a taxing one. But they do turn out super cute, so I think that they're totally worth it. And again, I think they're gonna sell super well, because who doesn't like Studio Ghibli? Who doesn't like My Neighbor Totoro? And who doesn't want one as a keychain? I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer. Like I said, I figured the Totoro plushies would end up selling really well, and they actually did. They were one of my best-selling keychains, for sure. I think I brought almost 30 Totoro keychains, and by the end of my time at Anime Boston, I only had like 2 or 3 left. So they sold really well. Really happy about that. Thanks, guys. I wish I would have had time to make even more Totoro keychains because they were so popular. But that's okay. I can always make more for my next market. This week, I also made a batch of whale plushies. I started off with these whales because whales always sell really well for me. But then I ended up deciding that if I'm going to bring the whales to Anime Boston, which I will, they're kind of lower priority because for anime conventions in general, I think that the best selling plushies are always going to be the anime related plushies or non-anime kind of cartoon related plushies or video game plushies. I think the fandoms within that realm of anime, animation more broadly, and video games tend to attend these anime conventions. So I decided to kind of put the whales on the back burner. I did, I think, end up making maybe like 20 or more whales at the start. But yeah, then I kind of cooled down, transitioned to the Totoros. Then I kind of got tired of doing the sewing for the Totoros. So then I transitioned into making the Kirby's. And once I finish up making this batch of Kirby's, I'm gonna probably go back to the Totoros and then make a bunch more other animation, video game inspired plushies. What I was surprised about at Anime Boston was how popular those little whales were. I was not expecting people to want them as much as they wanted some of my anime related plushies, but they did. I think I had like a couple, actually no, I think I sold all of the whales that I brought to Anime Boston. I brought 20. People really liked them. Some people wanted me to add a little keychain to them, which was nice, and yeah, they sold way better than I thought. So I wish I would have had time to make more, but I didn't end up kind of going back to the whale plushies after I started focusing more on the anime video game plushies that I was making. But you know what? You live, you learn. I've talked about this before, but it is kind of hard to predict what sells well and what doesn't sell well at any given market or other in-person event. So it's really just trial and error. I didn't have a lot of time for trial and error for this. Actually, I didn't have any time for trial and error for this because it was my first time and it was a 3-day kind of back-to-back event. So you live and you learn. I learned that I can absolutely bring more non-anime related plushies to anime conventions and they'll still sell well. And ultimately, it was still a great experience, and I'm happy that I did bring the whales that I ended up bringing. I have a lot of ideas in mind, but again, I have 7 more weeks until Anime Boston, so I'll definitely be kind of journaling this, video journaling this progress that I'm making, because this is really exciting to be selling at my first anime convention, and I have a lot more to make. So that's it for this video. Just a little bit of a progress update for my first, kind of week of crocheting for this convention. Thank you so much for watching. Leave me a like because it really helps out the channel, and make sure you subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment below to let me know if there's anything else you want to know about my time vending at Anime Boston, or if there are other videos that you're interested in seeing on my channel. Thanks, guys. Bye.